I don't play hard games for the same reason my friends can't stand playing Mario Party with me. I hate losing. But here's the goal. I'm gonna play Elden Ring until I beat one of the main bosses, and I cannot quit until I do. Why? Because I want to dig deep and see what happens when I refuse to give up, even when it feels like I'm up against the impossible. No way! Along the way, I'm gonna figure out why anyone puts themselves through this kind of torture to begin with. I'm out here with my best friend, Chris. So Chris, why do you like hard games? And more importantly, how does such an unforgiving game get such glowing reviews like this one from Dear Insanity 415, who gave it 5 stars, saying, "My ex-fiance got this for me for Valentine's Day, and I can absolutely say it has provided more enjoyment and excitement in my life than she did in 4 years." Why'd you have to do Macy like that, bro? Let's have a moment of silence for Macy. Pray your hands in the comments. And MDS Fusion YT said, 5 stars. My dad came back. After I became an Elden Lord, he came back with the milk. I can now eat Oreos properly. If you don't know what Elden Ring is, imagine a game of hide and seek where everything you hide behind is also actively trying to end your existence. That's Elden Ring. Alright, let's die a million times. What? What? Facing a boss right now. Alright, I really gotta get a grip on these controls, man. Oh, why? I don't know what that means. All I know is that I'm dying a lot. Bro, this game is crazy. Now, imagine me tackling my first seriously tough game and actually sticking with it for more than 5 minutes without giving up. So I went into this game with the naive optimism of a 13-year-old, thinking it would be a breeze, much like believing that my first crush, a girl I barely spoke to but kissed on the cheek once during PE, would be the one I ended up marrying. As I continued to get wrecked over and over for hours and hours, I noticed something. It's like there's these 4 stages, kind of like when you're grieving a breakup or something, that your brain goes through when tackling hard games for the first time. The first is thinking that it's something like a game mechanic that you needed to master, or some pattern the boss does that you need to remember in order to win. This is what I call the denial stage. No way! I've got to get this parry down. I've got to get this parry down. To parry or what? I will parry you, you bitch. There's a parry. So close. Okay, great. Now he's like playing like Game Busters now.
And I remember thinking to myself, this game is programmed to hate you.
That actually brings me to something that there were some situations where like I got so close to beating the boss, but then I felt like on the next run, for some reason, they were like super hard on me. Like they were doing like moves that I hadn't even seen before or something. Yep. I was like, okay, so they're like, oh, so just when you start getting confident that you know how to beat them, I feel like the game mechanics completely switch up. Like, is that a thing?
They do. And see that.
Which takes us to stage 2, anger. Fuck you, you fucking piece of shit. Almost had you though. Almost. Come on, dude. I fucking hate this game so much. No! No! No, you f***er! Fuck off. Golf, 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 golf. Now, stage 3 is where most people, like me, tend to throw their controller out the nearest window and play Kirby or scream into a pillow. Give up. I give up, man. Or both, like I did. But since my goal was to defeat a boss and I hadn't achieved that yet, I decided to take some time for reflection. So, I ventured out into the woods where games couldn't hurt me anymore, but bugs could.
It's something without having to put in
To have a conversation with my best friend about what makes these games so damn appealing.
The reason I love video games is because not only does it distract me from real life, it improves me in areas that I need to be improved on, whether that be Guitar Hero, having hand-eye coordination, or just basic brain function. It trains me, keeps me distracted, it passes time, and it gives me the gratification that I have completed something without having to put any physical work or too much stress. To be honest, if I had talked to a psychiatrist about it, they would probably say I have control issues, because I beat games the way I do, and the hard games that I beat are all there just because I want to control them.
Yeah, I think it is like a pride thing. Yeah. There's a pride component. Also, would you go into that murky, disgusting water if somebody was going to give you $1,000?
I've been in that murky, disgusting water for a lot less money and almost died, and then gone back in later. So no, I wouldn't.
Well, I'm sorry, this isn't a Mr. Beast video. I don't have $1,000. Why do you like hard games, and what games have you played?
Well, clearly I like to make life difficult.
Hey, that's good.
I don't know. It's I started playing video games, hard games, when I was young. Or I started hard games because when I was playing video games, I would beat them and then just have no other games to to play. So I would have to find ways to beat them, in ways that maybe the game wasn't programmed.
I think one of the redeeming qualities for me as like somebody who's normally a casual gamer, doesn't appreciate hard games, is like I like with Elden Ring you can go outside of the lines and like grind for a little bit until you do get stronger. But even still, the enemies are still going to be equally as tough, and they'll pull some move that you've never seen yet. So it's a little bit more forgiving in that sense. But dude, I've still have gone through multiple dungeons where I've died hundreds of times.
And they give you things in these games that make you appreciate them for what they are.
Then we decided to take to the streets and ask people why they like to play hard games. There was actually a Dungeons & Dragons mixer event going on here that would have been perfect to shoot and interview people at, but sadly, they don't allow filming of any kind, so that was a bust. And there's a movie theater that usually has a line of people, but there was a private event going on there, so that was also kind of a big fail. I thought about approaching people in the street, but anxiety, much like Elden Ring, got the best of me. This feels way more awkward. I feel more like I'm a street beggar than somebody who's just trying to like interview people.
Yeah, it's one of those, like a roller coaster.
I was just overstimulated by all the crowds and just got way too in my head about everything. So I decided to just take the L for that day, go home and do what I do best, which is to ask random people on the internet my question, and I got some pretty good answers back. Losing was starting to get old, but I realized it wasn't the game's fault. I knew I could do this. I just had to grind it out, give it everything I had, and level up my skills. So I dove in, spending hours battling enemies, beefing up my character's stats and gear, and getting the hang of the gameplay, like I probably should have in the very beginning of the game. Then, back to face the ugly giant goblin thing. My main frustration in this whole journey was not swallowing up my pride and accepting help sooner when the game offered it.
Should I summon this cooperator? Nah, I want to be fair and square.
I had no idea I could just like summon a CPU to be a meat shield for me. So a combination of getting better at the game itself, not giving up, and accepting the help of others through the YouTube tutorials and in-game brought me closer and closer to victory until finally... Oh, I didn't have my shield. Idiot. Oh, why did I run right into that? I'm an idiot. Yes! Yes! He was poisoned somehow. Woo! It was at that moment, that exact moment, where I really understood where everyone was coming from and why they enjoy hard games. It just all clicked for me. I don't think it's the challenge itself people enjoy, but I think it's the payoff after putting in the work, learning, persevering, and never ever giving up. And those are exceptional qualities not only to have when playing hard games like this, but just in life in general. And it's also hard for me to not draw parallels to not only life, but to being a YouTuber or creator of any art. You put in your art, you put out your blood, sweat, and tears, and your video tanks, or no one buys a single piece of your art at your gallery. You don't get any views. You blame the platform, people's tastes, or the algorithm. That's stage 1, denial. You get pissed off, stage 2. You give up, stage 3. I've given up a lot. But maybe, just maybe, you come back with a new perspective of getting better and better until you hit an inflection point and you finally win. And I feel like I'm just now approaching the beginning stage of stage 4 in life and on YouTube. Anyway, I love you guys.